If you are stuck in a rut with your health, with your diabetes, if you know you need to do something about this, but for some reason you just can't find the motivation, or you keep talking yourself out of actually doing it, or you keep procrastinating, you are probably telling yourself one of these four lies that I'm going to go through with you today. We're going to uncover these, help you recognize, help you address them, help you move through them so you can actually take action and start getting yourself out of this rut today. Okay, the first lie that is keeping you stuck in a rut. When X happens, that's when I'll focus on my health. Okay, so whatever this thing is that you're thinking, this time point in the future, that when that happens, that will give me probably like the time and the space to be able to work on my health. Because honestly, like this, whatever you're thinking at the moment, it's not going to be the last thing that gets in the way. Yeah, that problem might be getting sorted, but there's probably no guarantees that it is getting sorted, and no guarantees that it's going to be sorted within the time frame or as soon as you think it is. But even so, it's not going to be long until something else pops right back up in its place. I had a client, for example, that we started this year, the start of January, and real credit to her. She jumped in at the start of January knowing it was going to be a really, really busy time for her because she was an accountant. So January, just manic. But I'm so glad she did because we got going. She was really focused on like, oh, it's going to be so much easier once January's over. After the 31st of January, it's going to be easy breezy. But then guess what happened in February? She was finding her kids living at home really getting in the way of her being able to move forward and give herself that time and space that she needed to work on herself. And then after that, it was the fact that it was still dark in the evenings. And once it was going to be lighter in the evenings, that was going to make it so much easier to exercise, and everything was going to be much, much simpler. Then her kids were actually moving out, and so the shenanigans going on with all of that, the helping them in that process was taking up all her time. Next thing you know, it's April coming round, another tax deadline, work gets manic. And then her daughter after that needed help with her baby. And there's always the next thing. And we can never foresee all of those things. We always just think once that next thing's out of the way, it's going to be so much easier. Now, has she made all the progress that she wants to? The truth is, no, not yet. But if she hadn't got started, if she hadn't known that it was a busy time and jumped in anyway, it would be September now, and she wouldn't have done anything because she would have been thinking, like, let me just get this thing out of the way and then I'll get started. And that, like we went through, was a process that just kept coming. If she hadn't jumped in when she did, then what she wouldn't have done is got rid of her fatty liver disease. Like that was a big one. She wouldn't have completely overhauled her eating habits. She wouldn't have upped her walking in the way she has, been able to walk up hills that would have left her completely out of breath before. All of that she has gained from jumping in when it wasn't the right time, even though she hasn't fully got her exercise routines where she wants them to be. But if now is a busy time for you, do you honestly think that you're never going to be busy again? Because if the answer to that is no, then you have to work on this now. And it makes most sense to work on it and to understand how to make a healthy life, healthy choices work within a busy life. Because let me tell you, your busyness, that's not the thing that needs to change to reverse your diabetes, which is a good thing because honestly, we can't change a lot of that. That's not the thing that has to change to reverse your diabetes. Could it make things easier? Yeah, for sure. But ultimately, a busy life is not realistically going anywhere for you for any length of time. It's not. It's going to get swallowed up by something. If you stop traveling for work, you'll find there's more to do around the home. If you retire, you'll find yourself helping out more with the grandkids. Something is going to fill that space. But you don't need to. And honestly, you can't wait for all that to disappear to address your diabetes. You have to find a way to make it work in the now, in real life, because it's slow, it's insidious. but you know that every moment or what every moment longer being diabetic is leading you to in terms of your risk factors, in terms of complications. And the day is never going to come where it's all going to be easy and it will never stay. That day will never stay. So you have to do this now. Okay, the second lie that people tell themselves, I failed in the past, so I'm probably going to fail again. There's no point trying. But is that what you are more committed to, your past? Or are you more committed to changing, to your future? Does the fact that you've tried many times and many things actually show maybe that you are not a failure, but that you are resilient and persistent and committed, and that this is so damn important to you? Does it not mean that you have way more experience than someone who's never tried? You actually know what you're getting yourself into with this. You know what you found helpful before and what you've struggled with. You've got way more data to work with. And how about this? Maybe you will fail again. So what? What's actually the worst thing that happens if you fail? Like your ego might be a bit bruised, you might feel a bit rubbish about yourself. But now, what's the worst thing that happens if you don't try? In fact, like, what is actually the best thing that can happen if you don't try? Because the very best that you can hope for really is that things don't get too much worse for you too quickly. Because months and years of being in a diabetic state are taking their toll on your health. Your underlying health is being damaged. So, the best that you can hope for if you don't try is an insidious onset of the consequences that are already going on under the surface. So, that's your best and worst. And another part of this is like, how are we actually defining failure? Does this thing that you are going to try or you're thinking about trying, does it have to be the cure-all magic bullet? If you don't completely reverse your diabetes, if you don't get all the way down to a HbA1c in the 30s, if you don't reach your ideal weight, does that mean that you didn't succeed? Or can we recognize that no one thing, no matter how comprehensive a program, is unlikely to be everything that you need to solve every single problem that's going to come up along the way? Everything is a process. So, can you recognize success in picking up tools, understanding parts deeper, making movements in the right direction, knowing that, of course, there's still going to be setbacks? That's not a reflection of you failing, it's just a reflection of real life. It's not that something either works or it doesn't, it's to what degree it's worked so far. Line number 3, I can do this on my own. Okay, now don't get me wrong. Absolutely, there are people that do this on their own all the time. There's things that you can do on your own, and that's different for everybody. I get messages all the time from people that have watched my Instagram and they've utilized that, they've put it into action, they've turned their diabetes around without ever having a conversation with me. But if you are not getting the results you want, if you have some sort of block in the way, it's something that I think is there under the surface for many of us, this feeling of I should be able to do this on my own. Now, one of my past clients told me just last week that she waited for nearly 3 years trying on her own, not getting any help, because honestly, she knew most of what she needed to do. But it wasn't until she got help that things changed, that in her words, the transformation happened. For nearly 3 years, with all the knowledge she needed, she was getting nowhere. In fact, she was getting worse. But when she realized that she didn't have to deal with this problem on her own, when she had some help breaking it down, talking it through, she said it was so easy. As humans, we are social creatures, and there are a few things that define us as a species. And our ability to cooperate, to get things done by working together, to create outcomes that are greater than the sum of what each individual could achieve, that is one of those defining characteristics of human beings. And leveraging our human nature and the fact that accountability, and social acceptance. It's how we're wired. That's just a really smart move. I know this is true. For me, anything that I'm actually serious about making happen, I get a coach for it. I get in groups of people working towards the thing. I find help in some way, shape, or form. I never try to do anything on my own. Why would I when it's easier and faster if I get help and then at the end of it, I actually get what I want? I'm not still there just wishing away, struggling on my own. For my fitness, for my business, even for becoming a better parent, I've invested in help in some way, shape, or form because it's important to me. Right, fourth and final lie we're going to cover today. Are you ready for this? I can't justify spending that much. Okay, so you're thinking about getting help. You've realized now is not the perfect time, but it is the time. You acknowledge that even though you've failed in the past, that is not a prediction of your future. You are in the exact place you need to be now to turn this around. And you know that you need help to do it, that guidance and accountability is only going to make this easier. You understand that getting help is going to require a financial investment, but maybe you're not sure exactly how much. Then you find out, and it really doesn't matter what the price is. You've now got the perfect excuse to drop it all and stay comfortable in your rut. You tell yourself it's a completely logical decision, it's practicalities, and it's easy to justify it to ourselves. But the truth is, it's the most emotional decision of all. You're so close to jumping in, and then you see an easy exit, and it feels safe, it feels easy, it doesn't require any change. You're taking it. Now, of course, everyone's financial position is different, and everyone has financial pressures that I'm not pretending to be privy to and understand. But for 9 out of 10 people that I speak to, it's not a genuine inability to make it work financially. They'll say, I have the money, I just need to think about it. Or it won't be, that's not possible, but I can't justify that. Or they might put it on their partner and say, I'll talk about it with them and see if we can make it work. And honestly, it baffles me because we all say that we value our health. We all say if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. But your bank account tells me a lot more about what you truly value than your words. Work out what you've spent on takeaway and eating out and Netflix in the last year. Because I have conversations with people, often in tears, about the state they're in, how they don't feel like themselves anymore, how they know that if things don't change, it's only going to get worse. And they know they need to sort it out now before it's too late. And then they'll let a few £100s get in the way of them moving forward. But what is money good for if not improving your health? Dramatically improving your quality and quantity of life, getting rid of your diabetes. That money is going to get spent one way or the other. And in a year's time, do you want to look back and not even know what it got swallowed up on? Or do you want to look back and know that you've invested it in your health, your future, in being a better parent or grandparent or partner for the people around you? And speaking of partners, I get it. I'm the same. I always talk to my partner before spending a certain amount. But if it's something that's important to me, and if it's my health, it's important to both of us, right? But it's a conversation about openness. Or maybe it's how can we make this work? I'm not asking for permission because I certainly wouldn't want a partner who said, look, I know you're in pain. I know you're depressed. I know you're worried about losing your sight or losing your foot. I know you've got no energy to get through the day and you feel like you're just existing. You're not able to live life fully. But we did say we were going to redo the kitchen this year. So maybe you should stay diabetic for now. And, maybe we can reassess next year. What value are you really going to place on this? If you got where you wanted to go, what would that be worth? Is it £100? Is it £1,000? Is it £10,000? No one else can answer that for you. It's very personal. But check in with what you say is important to you and where your money actually goes. And think, can you really justify any spending that doesn't align with your values? Or maybe that's even taking you further away from your goals. Okay, so that's four lies that might be keeping you stuck. They might be the reason that you're not making any changes when you know that you need to. Recognizing and becoming aware is the first step in addressing anything. So, really have a think about if any of these have been showing up for you and how they might be impacting your progress. Let me know in the comments which one resonated the most for you. I really hope you found something helpful in there, and I'll see you soon.